Welcome back to Capitol Review. I'm Mark Hall. Across the country, Americans are pausing to remember the lives lost on September 11, 2001, during the attacks that shook the nation to its core. Families of victims and survivors and first responders gathered to read the names of those lost. At the Pentagon, a moment of silence held in honor of the 184 lives taken there. And in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, ceremonies to remember the heroes of Flight 93 who stopped terrorists from reaching their target. Returning to Capitol Review is John Byrnes. He's the Strategic Director for Concerned Veterans for America. And he was deployed to Ground Zero in New York City in the immediate aftermath of the attacks. John, welcome back.
Thanks for having me on, Mark. Always good to talk.
We're always glad to have you. You were at Ground Zero. What can you remember most about that day?
I mean, it's so etched in my memory. It's like minute by minute. I can remember, being told while sitting in a classroom that the first plane had hit the World Trade Center, being told a few minutes later that a second one had hit, and, the confusion, right? Was it really one plane? Did parts bounce off? I remember scrambling around campus, slipping some homework under doors, and then heading down to my armory, which was about a mile and a half downtown from where I was going to school, Hunter College. And spent the day, if you've been in the military, a lot of hurry up and wait. Had a couple of things that we had go on, ran out to get some maps at Barnes & Noble because we didn't have any maps for the city. We just had training maps for upstate and Jersey training facilities. And it was a lot of anger, a lot of frustration, but we finally, that evening, we were deployed down to Canal Street, and we secured Lower Manhattan along Canal Street from civilians to keep them safe. And then for the next 12 nights after that, we were actually securing the perimeter itself. So got my first look at Ground Zero that evening. We took turns, walking down the last couple of blocks from Canal Street, and it was horrific.
John, it's been 24 years. How often do those images come back to you?
Often, I work as we talk. I work on foreign policy and veterans issues, so this is a big part of that. Obviously, this is probably the most consequential day in the lives of most people who are alive today, except for maybe some of the most elderly who's witnessed the Kennedy assassination or even Pearl Harbor. But for most of us, even those who aren't born yet, this is the most consequential day. All the choices that we've made, from the leaders we've elected to the way we conduct our foreign policy, even domestic policy, it all has repercussions from that one day.
You talk about the repercussions, John. I remember the attacks and the days and weeks and months that followed. In many ways, it just seems like it brought this country together. Something so horrific, so tragic, and yet we have, the current climate that exists right now. Why does it take tragedy to bring us together?
I don't know. I think that's a very human failing, a very human thing that happens in society after society. We have petty differences, and sometimes they turn deadly, as we've just seen. But when we are all attacked, we come together. And it's too bad that we can't have that spirit of unity all the time. I think it's fine to disagree about policies and what we want, but if we all want what's best for America, it would be great if we could have at least some fraction of that national unity through something other than tragedy.
John, how should we remember 9/11 as we move forward? It's been 24 years. In the upcoming years and decades, how should America remember 9/11?
Well, I think we should remember it as one of the most solemn days in our history. It's one of the few times that we've been attacked here in our homeland. We lost almost 3,000 Americans that day. We've lost, depending on how you do the counting, we lost 8,000 plus overseas in operations that kind of followed in the wake of that day. We've lost over 30,000 to suicide, folks who served in the military since then. So we really should honor everyone who fell that day. I particularly remember the firefighters and the policemen who went into the building knowing that they probably weren't coming back. That takes a lot of courage. Those guys are heroes. And those are the people we should focus on. But really, there's close to 40,000 folks that we really should honor and remember every September 11th.
John Byrnes, thank you so very much for joining us.
Thanks, Mark.